do you deal with the environment where everything is blamed or pointed at the IT department? Like even end user mistakes are always presented as IT issues.
I'll kick off a short one on this one. It's tech will be tech, and that's pretty much how I kick it off now. I used to lose a lot of sleep over this one. I didn't do good enough today. I can never prevent. You always want to prevent as much things, from happening. You don't want to have somebody blame you. You're gonna take it personal. It still happens. Sometimes you question yourself. Nobody's perfect here, but tech will be tech. I try to laugh it off in a professional way. Now being full remote, we are fully Slack or email based. We might get on a video call here or there, but so text is one thing. So you can kind of buffer yourself. Use that text to your advantage. You don't have somebody knocking on your cubicle, giving you a sad face, a middle finger, or something like that. It's like realize that you can kind of break the ice with a nice professional, as calm as possible intro, like, hey, tech will be tech. Once again, focus on the solution. And if you keep getting beat up, maybe you do have to talk to their manager or upper management. Like, hey, Mikey over here, he's constantly like unplugging his printer because he's working from home so he can plug in his PS4. It's not our fault, but now he keeps blaming IT for sending him a printer that fails all the time. You got to kind of weigh it out, the battles. Is it a one-time thing? Is it a second-time thing? Is it weekly? If it's weekly, you want to still provide the solution to him. Whatever his attitude is his attitude or her attitude. But then, do what you need to do, assess it, try to squash it where you can. But, once again, do the best you can with it.
Yeah, I'll quickly answer. I would just say statistics. If you have some means of tracking your stuff, whether it's a fulfillment system or whatnot, we have that a lot. Originally, it was new employees starting, not having a computer or access to everything first day. So basically, I helped develop a system to where a user would have all the security access they need, all the software, all the hardware they need to start their first day, instead of like, most companies, and I'm sure most people experience this, you start somewhere 3 or 5 days, you still don't have a computer, you don't know what's going on, you're watching orientation training, and we switched that. So everyone has a computer day one, everything that they need to succeed, and it was recognized. So it's just, you want to tackle a problem. If it's a reoccurring problem, maybe it is you. And just find a way to be empathetic and find a solution to that complaint. That way they have nothing to complain about, basically.
Nice.
Thank you both. This is going to be our last question. We're not able to answer all the questions that are there, but it looks like our organizer here has, you can continue the conversation in our Slack lounge, and I think that's been sent to all of you there. So please do, I encourage you to do this. This is just the sort of conversation that we need to be having a lot more of as professionals, and that you all need to be having a lot more of in order to feel supported, to brainstorm solutions around stress, mental health, interpersonal dynamics at work, boundaries, what have you. And we're just not talking about this enough. So I'm glad we have this forum today. So our last question here is, what suggestions do you have for people whose roles, personalities, and values are contradicted by today's full speed charge toward remote hybrid work? So if I understand this correctly, some people's roles or personalities or values perhaps don't fit with remote or hybrid work, or they don't believe in those things. And what do we do for those people and with those folks?
Wayne, you want to take this one?
Yeah, so we have definitely a mix of both, because we have a lot of engineers and they like to collaborate. A lot of people like to work together, and some people were first forced to work remotely, and now we have the ability for people to work in person again. There definitely is a clash of interest or how people operate. I know I have somebody above me who prefers people to come into the office when he's there, but sometimes you come into the office and you still have to hop on a Zoom meeting or whatever. So it's like, what's the point? It really depends on your working style and what works for you, and eventually everyone's just going to have to evolve. That's all there is to it. I understand. We have extroverts who just love to be around people and be bubbly, and and don't like being in a confined space. And a lot of people that you work with sometimes are the opposite, and you may not be aware. I'm a huge introvert, so I've trained my whole life for working remote.
kind of a flip side for me is everybody was on site, as I mentioned, for Primitive. It was hard for me to get us on webinars, hosting webinars, just using tech. Like even a Zoom call was very foreign. I'm sure that was for the case for a lot of companies, but it was really hard to get somebody to either participate in a meeting on their desk instead of going downstairs in our showroom, meeting room. The tech was there. I had a great sale, had great support, but people didn't want to use the tech. So I always say COVID and our remote forward helped me influence more tech into the company. So I took advantage of that side of it, which now everybody's got a taste of it because they had to use it, right? So when they're asked to come in the office, they go, what do you mean we have to come in? I could get on a Zoom meeting, I could be more productive. So now it's kind of, you know, the shuffle's there. Now people kind of want to get into the office, not full time, but we've been onboarding quite a bit, maybe 10, 15 employees recently for different departments, but they want to get together. So they, you know, maybe 1 or 2 days out of the week, they'll come into our headquarters office and stuff, and we kind of have universal hot desks. Everybody can dock their laptop in and meet, but we don't have much resistance in the company side. You know, Primitive's been a blessing that actually sees the benefit of both. You know, there's, you know, in person can provide this and that, but also, you know, remote people are more productive people. It just works for our company. So we're not getting much resistance on our side very much, but it has helped me sell tech, which is great.
Let me add a couple of things, final thoughts here. I think there have been three major cultural shifts, if you will, recently that are changing our attitude towards work, and in particular towards remote work. And yes, everybody's different. The people will have different needs, and more likely than not, as we go forward, we're going to need a hybrid approach to all workplaces. And I think those three things are that younger generations, if you will, millennial, the X generation, are growing up and having a different relationship to work. Think about that Jerry Maguire quote at the beginning, you know, of somebody who just wanted a better chair. Well, we're not there anymore, right? People are reassessing their relationship to work and to life, and that's important. Then we had the pandemic, which really supercharged us and forced us into a place where we needed to work remotely, and we understood that it could work well. And the last one is just simply the technology that's available to us. I mean, we wouldn't have been able to do this 50 years ago. We wouldn't be able to do this 20 years ago, probably, with this amount of ease. And so it is a revolutionary moment in terms of our relationship with work. And we have to understand that, and there are going to be some growing pains involved. So there are people who won't necessarily have the same values as us, and we need to make space for all the different types of people who show up in the workplace. So I want to thank you, Ricky, and Ricky Jordan, and Wayne Edwards, for participating and giving us all this great in the trenches insight. And I want to thank all of the participants for having joined us today and your wonderful questions. Again, this is going to be available for you. Keep on being revolutionary. Keep on being evolutionary in terms of your own mental health and your relationship to work. And you need it, and you deserve it. And I hope that you are successful. And so thank you again. And I hope you all have a good rest of your day.
Have a great one, everybody.
Please subscribe and check out more content from us.